this year, especially for the challenge year. And always think about it. Perhaps you could have a different strategy. Perhaps pajama is a new possible opportunity because like the Nike previously tend to develop some like traditional type products, but always a new idea can help them to have new business. All right, so this is one of the news I'd like to share today, and the other two news I have no time to share, but this is also very important, especially for e-commerce, when we talk about e-commerce. So this is some hack issue. When we talk about e-commerce, maybe the security will be the big problem. So you will see like stuff from 2 years ago, Yahoo and even Facebook has been hacked, and customers are somehow worried about their account, and even for a banking account, because they are linked together. So that's an issue, but I have no time to share. All right, so, and today so far I haven't given you any possible discussions, but later on if I have a time, let me finish my slides. We can have some time to make some discussion. But today I would like to share some interesting topic about the intermodal logistics. Here is a definition, but perhaps even you read the whole definition, it's still a little bit somehow unclear. So could anyone tell me like what's the meaning of intermodal logistics? Let me show you some quick visualization video. Maybe you could have some quick image in your mind. Let me jump a little bit.
Service type and vehicle planning is made in accordance with the specification of the goods and demands of the customer. After deciding the best suiting service type, standard, express,
The stuff on truck, always, for first mile and last
super express, or speedy. Work order is being sent through our systems to our drivers. Transportation process begins after determination of the route regarding to the specified service type. We provide the highest service quality for different transportation and loading requirements from different industries. The accuracy of the delivery info is checked via PDA devices during the loading process. After the loading process is over, goods are delivered to equipped warehouses. Emails are sent to our customers informing that the vehicle has been departed, by which the customers and employees can track the shipment. Tracking is the process real time.
This is a hot intermodal transportation.
After the journey via sea, the trailers reach to Trieste port.
Okay, so this is how we call it intermodal transportation or intermodal logistics, which means they combine different transportation methods. In general, we try to divide the whole delivery process into 3 segments: first mile, and the major part, and the last mile. In general, first mile and last mile all rely on the truck. And for the middle part, you can have lots of different combinations. For example, like a truck, air truck, railroad truck, or truck, I don't know, truck, ocean truck, or you can combine more, like the truck, rail, air truck, or something. You can see lots of different combination. So, question 1, why we need to do the complicated operation like this? Why we need to do the intermodal logistics? I always like to show you some statistics. So let's look at this statistic. This is the statistic from 2007 to 2012. We're supposed to have the latest data. I haven't updated with that. But this is from my previous job in the United States. We mainly do lots of statistics. And I'm mainly responsible for this year. Yeah, I do lots of work in 2012. So how can we, what's the information we we can observe here. So the table, we have lots of information here. And upper, we say like the single mode, which means only rely on truck. Or actually, the rail is still debate like that because sometimes some people tend to ignore the first and last mile. But we always say like a railroad may not be able always just running by single. So it's kind of like during the statistics, somehow it's very difficult to maintain with that. And sometimes they will have this kind of truck and rail, but you could see like in general, in the United States, truck is a majority of the whole delivery transportation method. And we call it intermodal, which means they combine different modes, still a little bit less. And here's the percentage. So you could see like in general. But when we talk about shipment, they have other statistics. So number one, you can see like in the United States, they always rely on the truck. Is that good or not? Stating on the government's viewpoints.
Maybe it's more costly. If from this table, we can say like if the company just rely on the one single mode, like rely on the single mode, it's more costly than using the multiple modes.
Okay, good. Number one, like yes, in general, we found intermodal is much cheaper than just rely on single mode. You can imagine like from the West United States, if you just rely on truck to the East United States, East Coast, it's very time consuming and also costly. But still, in lots of United States companies still like to use the truck to drive all the way. What's the other disadvantage? But let's talk about advantage first. Why, that's a high percentage in the United States. But let me show you another number. Not just for the United States. We observe the European countries. They have a similar statistics trend, which means even in the European countries, they also rely on the truck to deliver cargoes across the countries. But what's the advantage? Easy moving, flexibility, and others. One other thing is like a truck, you don't need to carry lots of the cargoes. For the rail or for the air or other inland waterway, you have to accumulate enough the workload. You have to wait for lots of the package loading on your transportation vehicles. So which means the truck is easy to move, easy to weigh, and more flexible. What's the disadvantage? Perhaps long distance is costly, time consuming. What else? Why in most of the countries in the United States and also Europe, right now we try to decrease the truck load usage. We want to enhance and improve and encourage private companies try to use the intermodal operations. Any possible reasons?
Weight limitations and accidents.
Accidents is true, yeah. If you look at the accidents, traffic accident is very terrible, especially for truck, just rely on truck operations. Compared to a truck, maybe air, rail, inland waterways, much more safer. And what else? You mentioned
Weight limitation. The trucks are limited, the weight is limited if you go through the trucks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is another very good key issue. So, you can see what else? Lots of one major term is still right now in the United States and also in the European countries. They finally decide to decrease its number of usage of truck. One more.
Parking issues.
Parking issues.
Parking issue.
Performance pollution.
Okay, very good. Pollution. A parking issue is a very challenging issue in the city logistics, but not in the rural area. But pollution, yes. Truck makes more polluted, like the polluted air, and if you check the fuel efficiency, maybe they are not good compared to the railroad and even inland waterway. So which means both of the reason make sure the most of the government decide to, every government tend to develop a long-term future plan to do the next decade's global supply chain operations. So right now, most of the common sense is trying to decrease the usage of truck. That's a rule number one. By the way, I just forgot to mention, tomorrow morning on the D118 classroom, we invite president in DHL in Taiwan to make some presentation. If you are highly interested, please feel free to join us. Tomorrow morning, start from 9 o'clock on the D198 room. So DHL president in Taiwan, he will make some interesting presentation. But unfortunately in Chinese. So if you are highly interested, maybe you can feel free to join that. If you need translation, you better bring the study together. Well, okay, so this is the intermodal, but you can see like, by the way, one other, we would say, advantage to promote intermodal. I forgot to mention that. Why most private companies tend to use the truck? I would say most easy, which means that it can easy to connect from origin to destination. But sometimes this may not really efficient. Think about an airline company. So we set up lots of transfer points, which means that cargo, lots of the people need to even transfer some airport. If the cargoes, they can do some transfer, which means intermodal actually brings a transfer, because every time you need to transfer to different modes. If you can rely on this transfer, you can have a chance to gather in a different origin, but we share the same destination goods together. So which means you can increase the utilization rate of your container or your truckload. That's another benefit. But if you always let truck go anywhere, that's a little bit less efficiency, also pollution. So lots of reasons right now most of the countries tend to bring that. This is some results we found from 2007 to 2012. And I'm quite familiar with this result as statistics, but if I have time, I will introduce you to that. Just, I try to put some here and you can check. We have lots of reason to improve and promote the intermodal just because I listed here lots of good advantage to promote this kind of issue. But greenhouse gas emissions right now, we are one major concern because truckload really high pollution. Okay, so okay, let's take a 10 minutes break and let me finish the second part.